welcome back to, your little weekly wave recap. Not Sunday, I know. And also, I had a bunch of people asking me to start doing a face cam. I'm gonna do it for this one video. I don't know if I'll keep it moving forward, but I think it's cool to have like a face behind the work. Anyways, first of all, surprise, I'm not 50 years old. I'm just some degenerate that draws lines on charts. So we have, I think there are 3 accounts that I'm eyeing at this moment in time. And fair warning, they all are, pretty much the same, but, I'm just going to go over them for you here. And while it is still early to call, like, one that I think is most probable, from, like, a statistical point of view, just based off of current price action, I'd say I do have a pretty good idea of what I think is going to happen. Obviously, nothing is confirmed, but I'm here to kind of dig through everything that I don't explain on Twitter because there's a lot to explain. Like, it's a very methodical process. So, first of all, this is my primary as of now, and if you want, you can kind of do the subdivision to see that it all checks out. But the order to look at here is going to be white, and then the blue within the white, this, like, teal, if you even call it that, teal within the blue, yellow within the teal. Yeah, pretty much. And then, because this is correcting in purple, the some purple degree is the same as the teal, but it's just corrections instead of impulsive. So, anyways, what you're looking at here is we have 1, 2, and this whole move I'm counting as a 3 with a 4 down to here. And if you remember from the last video I filmed, I marked it as lower probability, the expanding flat wave 2 count, which actually had us coming down to this 135 area anyways. And so the way you'd be looking at that is pretty much the same that I have drawn here, but you'd be looking for a low at roughly 138, right? Just diving more into this count. Before I explain all the subdivisions, I'm just going to show you like what fractal I'm eyeing at the moment, and that would be this one right here, right in November. This same sort of idea. And while the timing isn't going to be exactly the same, this was the day that we first got this spike up was actually on the monthly expiration date. And so that would translate to April 14th, which would be this Thursday because markets are closed on Friday. But I don't think it'll be that quick. That's just me though. I think this has a much higher probability. If this count is correct, I'd assume there's a much higher probability of this unfolding next week versus the end of this week. But basically what I'm looking for moving forward is this type of diagonal setup, right, into a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in this instance, this is actually a truncated fifth, and I'll show you one in a second. But basically all I'm looking for to confirm the trend that I'm eyeing now is, right, if we haven't bottomed yet, first of all, the reason why I'd say, or I put it in the tweet that 143 had a higher probability of being, like the low that we're looking for is because when you did the subdivision here in this move, the 618 ratio was the lowest we came down to. And yeah, we came below it a few times, but we actually held it, and we didn't actually come down to the 786 at about 192. But that being said, right, this ratio I'm looking at to mark the wave 4 again, right? This is that ratio right here at 143. So yes, it is possible we could come down to 135, and this does depend on the broad market. In terms of like broad market, we do have CPI data dropping tomorrow, which could be a shock. But what we'd be watching for moving forward, if this is correct, is we would start to or I'll go to TradingView because it'll make it a little bit easier to look at. All right. Okay, ignore the scale, but let's say moving forward from here to verify what I'm looking for. It'd be kind of like, 2, 3, 4, 5, and right, this makes it, and then this is a wave 1, and so I guess this would be like farther, but whatever. I'll just do it like this. Right, that makes a 1. And from there we'd have, kind of this type of action, but eventually, the whole size of the move is going to be like 2, 3, 4, 5. Something kind of like that, right? And I mean, ignore the subdivision, or not the subdivision, like the notation per se. This isn't necessarily correct. This is just so you can like visualize the trajectory that I'm eyeing. But this, right here, this is like pretty much it. But now we dive a little bit deeper, right? And so going back to the last, move or the fractal that I'm eyeing here, subdivision's more or less the same, right? You have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into 3 extended third. ABC 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so actually, if you followed me on Twitter back in November, I had this level marked as like a very, very, like, you know, if we take this, it's going to reverse very hard. And I was eyeing it actually, I was eyeing it the count-wise, I was eyeing it a little bit differently. It doesn't matter now because, you know, the thesis that, you know, that if a rejection is hit here, then we're going to sell really hard, that, you know, that was true still. So in terms of like the larger degree structure that was being eyed back then, it doesn't matter because the short-term analysis was correct. And so because of that, I am paying very, very close attention to this. So you'll see the level I had was 251.92 and we ticked 252.2. And if you go to 1 minute, you'll see that no candles closed above, right? Tick, tick, sell. And then no test again. And I mean, obviously, you know, if we fast forward to now, you know, this was the peak right there. And so again, that ties into this whole idea that we could very well see this rip up to here because we do have a lot of longs that are waiting to accumulate down here, which we will get, in my opinion. We are still going to get this gap fill. But the way I see it is, you know, everyone's expecting it. And so it would make the most sense to, you know, take out the people that are waiting for the snipe of a lifetime, rip it up, make them think they're wrong, and then it comes back down. And so, again, like the subdivision for the large degree count would look kind of like this. And it won't necessarily be this explosive, but, you know, you get the idea before it starts to go. But whatever. We're still in the early phases, right? We still have, in my opinion, we still haven't even finished the large degree wave 1 in the yellow. We very well could have, in that the count, which one was it? Do I even have it still? I don't know. Okay, it's this is the right one. So the only way for us to know for sure that in the short term our 125 level is off the table is we will break above 155. And as soon as we get that, you know, because the way we're looking at this view here, this was like the count that called for a low of 125, I believe. In the last video I talked about, right, I said if we reject this 173 area, there's a very high probability we are just going to sell down to there. And we rejected it almost perfectly, right? 173.87 was the level. We hit 173.24. So within like 60 cents. Not terrible. But I'm just laying this out because this would fake out a lot of people. This 155 level is critical. Break above this signals the view that I'm talking about right now is most likely correct. Or not on demand. Now really quickly I'm going to go back to the other view, right? And then in this instance, in this view here, the critical low being 158. So I'll just visualize it really quickly, right? In both of the quote-unquote bear counts I have, for them to be confirmed bullish, right, we are going to need to break above this little area that I have marked here. And as soon as we see that, that gives much more confirmation to the largest degree count that I'm on. Our upside targets as of now are, I don't think 238 would happen. I think it would just be this 217. But should we come down to 135, which is not off the table by any means, that adjusts it to about 211, 212. And then sure, you can like look to see if this is like a, you know, a critical area by kind of just like draw a little box and see if there's like any, and like, yeah, you can kind of see that, you know, upside targets right now at this stage is kind of, doesn't matter too much. We just want to see a confirmation of like a short-term bottom, and that we maybe come down to 135, maybe we don't. But again, we just need to see this type of uptrend first to have an idea that what we're looking at is correct. And, you know, should we keep selling and not bounce at any of the outline levels, then the view that I talked about being my primary view last week is most likely to be correct still. So, also, this is another way to look at what's going on. It's more or less the exact same thing as what I just showed you, just labeled differently as the wave 1 up to here and A, B, C into 2. I think this is lower probability, but it's still like the same thing that I have marked anyways. So it's still possible, and the reason I'm looking at this is because I'm counting this as ABC down, and I mean, it's becoming less and less likely because this is continuing to break down. But if we have ABC into a larger A leg, then we're going to have ABC to B and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into C. And when we see the 5 legs down from C into C in this instance, this would fake out a lot of longs who would think that the trend is now impulsive to the downside because we'll have 5 waves down instead of 3. So just a little bit of forecasting. In terms of what I think is most likely, you know what I think. Going back to this wave 5 of 1, right? Assuming 135 is hit, that adjusts to 211, but at current positioning, should we not form a new low, that gives a target of 217.18. Cool. I think you guys get the idea moving forward. A loss of one, if we don't bounce here, we're coming down to 125 area. The exact fib for that is the same one from my last video. I took it off of here now, but yeah, I just need to 1 A, B, yeah, and then I extend, put the 1 to 1 on. And that would give, right, this target of 124, where A equals C, right, down here. And at the same time, I mean, it's like pretty much right where this gap fill level is too. So all of them make sense, right? They all have some sort of probability of being correct. At this stage, though, it's just waiting for trends to develop so we can tell or have a better idea, per se, as to what's going to happen. Cool. Alright, I think I covered about everything. Sorry it took me longer to get this up. I was going to do it yesterday, but obviously I didn't. But here I am now. So if you want me to keep doing the face cam, let me know. If not, I don't really care. It's pretty much the same way I set the camera up anyways. I just don't put the video in. But if you enjoyed, cool. If not, you're still here, so I think you're lying to yourself. But see you guys next week. Peace.